Okay,
Right.
so is it time to introduce our guest speaker?
It is indeed.
So everybody, today's guest speaker is the founder and owner of Alton's newest bar, the 10 Tun Tap House. Our guest faced an unprecedented set of business and marketing challenges when he opened his bar in Alton's Market Square last March. Launching any new business is risky, but when the tap house opened its doors, nobody could quite have foreseen how challenging the year ahead was going to be. Like, no kidding. Just 2 days after its launch, the government issued the order for all bars, pubs, restaurants and cafes to close. What followed was over a year of restrictions and closures. But through it all, our guest simply carried on and continued to turn the tap house into one of Alton's busiest venues with a strong following of loyal fans. And we are here to find out how he did it. With such an inspiring and topical startup story to share, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce the founder of the 10 Tun Tap House, Jason Delaney. Come in, Jason.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Morning, hello.
Morning, Jason.
Happy to have you here.
So lovely to have you here. It's brilliant, and what a perfect week too as well. The first week being open. I mean, it's like we planned it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Good planning all around. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. Brilliant.
No, thanks for
taking
having
the
me.
time in this what must be an incredibly busy week for you.
Yeah, it's been a bit full on this week, it's got to be said. The people, the good beer drinkers of Alton have been keeping us very busy since Monday. So
well done to them.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to start with some questions for you, but we're going to do a quick fire round just to bounce it around a little bit. So, Jason, what's your favourite drink?
Oh, beer, obviously.
Good answer.
All of
I
them.
don't think you'd say that. Yeah. And if you were having a snack to go with that beer, what would it be?
Do you know what? I'm a bit of a tart, so maybe like I'll go for something like samosas or onion bhajis from Mifta's across the road.
Oh,
Nice.
I noticed on your website you have like masala flavoured beer nuts, so they're a favourite of yours then.
Yeah, we were asked for some interesting snacks, so we delivered some spicy nuts and a few other little treats, and which seems to be going down well.
Brilliant.
Oh, feeling hungry.
Right, favourite song?
Oh, it's going to be.
This really shows you.
Angel of
Sorry, we
Death.
didn't give you. He hasn't seen these questions before.
Just quick fire. It's fine. What was your favourite song?
Angel of Death by Slayer.
Oh.
Yes.
Garrett's picked it up.
Yeah.
Look it up. We'll play it at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the first gig you ever went to? Be honest.
I was 16, and it was Ocean Colour Scene at Wembley Arena.
Oh,
Yeah.
Does that mean anything to you, Luke?
No.
We're going to look that one up afterwards.
Garrett,
I can feel
luckily we've got Gareth in the background, and Gareth is going to tell us all about it, I'm sure. He'll be googling away and finding it out. And the last quick fire, it's your desert island luxury. What would you take with you?
A beer.
A beer. Good answer.
Make your beer fridge.
I've got beer as two answers there. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Good. Right, we're going to start with proper questions now. That was just fun at the beginning.
That's to make you feel relaxed. How did we do?
I feel absolutely perfectly relaxed.
Good. Good. Fantastic. Right. So the first question about your business is when you opened the tap house in March. So you opened the tap house in March, in fact, but what did you do before?
So beforehand, I did a business degree in Southampton, and for the 15 years after that, I was working in IT. So I was selling software essentially, and I got a bit disillusioned with office life, and my passions led me elsewhere. So food was a big thing for me. Became a chef. And so a complete U-turning career. Did that for a couple of years, 3 years maybe, and then fatigue got the better of me, so I thought I'd change direction a little bit again.
So what kind of chef were you? Just
started off doing sort of production stuff. I did actually. My first business was a barbecue catering business. So we were doing a lot of barbecue work, And then I went into the pub industry, found a nice little country pub where we was given the freedom of the menu, and we can do largely whatever we wanted, really, and that was great. Hard work, but yeah, very good.
Okay.
Brilliant. Do you think, just going back to doing business at Southampton, do you think that gave you good grounding for your business? Did that give you, did it help? Did it give you the foundation that you were looking for?
For sure. It gives you like a structure to use, like a framework. I mean, it was so many years ago, but it's still there, that you need to cover these bases to make things work properly.
Yeah.
If you don't do things properly, then they fall over and get a bit messy quite quickly in a business. So if you're relying on it to survive, then yeah, I'd say it definitely gave me a leg up.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And your experience, sorry, you go, Lynn.
Go on.
Is your experience as a chef, has that lent itself to be able to taste beers and understand what your clientele are going to want to drink?
So I think the chefing side of it was a bit of a different dynamic that kind of brought to the table. It was coping with pressures and stresses of things. You could be put in many situations, and some would crumble, and you just have to get on with it in a kitchen. So that lent itself really nicely to just throwing myself into my own business.
So you learn how to be calm under fire, effectively.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Resilient. Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay. And just going on from that, did you do any market research before you opened? How did you go about deciding what your offering was going to be? What research did you do?
It was a bit of one of those epiphany moments. My wife and I were in Seville on holiday, and we found this little craft beer bar, and it was amazing. They had all these different kinds of beers from around Europe, and it was great. There was all kinds of different people there. They had little maps of where the other craft bars are in town, so they're very supportive. And I said to my wife, why is there nothing like this in our town or even in our county? And it kind of just struck me. I was like, right, okay, well, that's the answer. That's what I'm going to do.
So were you at that point, were you looking at starting some kind, were you at that point that you were looking for something to do, or were you doing something else and that you stumbled across that, which then led?
So yeah, there was definitely a crossroads coming up, which I was well aware of. I'm knocking on 40s now, so it's energy
to be 40.
Yeah. But when you're doing things like 55, 60 hours in a kitchen every week, it really gets on top of you as the years roll by. So I knew the days were numbered, and yeah, I was looking for the next thing, and yeah, that just kind of made more sense than anything else.
Can I just ask, did you find that your hours went down then when you started up your own business? Or did you suddenly realise you were still like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm now doing 75 hours a week?
Yeah, I dread to think how many hours I actually work now, but it's not really work when it's your thing, is it?
That is the difference, isn't it? There's that different mindset when you're doing 40, 45 hours for somebody else, but doing 75 for yourself it's a different mindset, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the first rota I've done for the first week we're open, I'm probably on there for about 60 hours just at the bar, and that's not including deliveries and accounting and everything else in the background. So yeah.
Right.
Wow, that is a lot. But so like you say, if you love what you do, then you can cope with that. I don't suppose that's sustainable, forever.
No. That's just me being a bit micromanaging the bar and making sure everything's fine, and I'll take a step back.
But I think in business, when it's your own business, you have to do that to a degree at the beginning, don't you? To get the ethos that you can't just have a bar. You've got to have how your customers. So hospitality is a very difficult thing, and you've got to get that right. It's not just about what you're selling; it's the hospitality side of it as well. So you have to invest time to do that.
And that's a really good sort of bit of advice for any new business owner, really. It's the small things, the little personal touches that really count. For instance, we had a booking yesterday, and on that booking I knew there was a lady who's gluten intolerant,
Right.
So a few days beforehand, I'd ordered in a few cans of gluten-free beer, which is it's quite readily available in craft beer. But when she turned up, I put a few cans on the table and I said, "I've got these in. I knew you were coming," and she was really pleased. She was able to drink something other than cider or wine. And
those kind of things are the things that people remember, don't they? And come back. That's how you get your repeat business, because you look after people. And that is it's a specialist thing to be able to do in hospitality. I don't think it's necessarily only for hospitality. I mean, I know we've got a wider audience today that are not just in, but it's in any kind of a small business. If you go that extra mile for your customers, they really, really remember it, and they come back and they become repeat customers.
Yeah. We had, I know we've got Russ in today, who's in the kitchen trade. We had a kitchen fitted years ago, and the workman on site fitting it for us, he wasn't allowed to leave until someone had turned up, ticked everything off, made sure I was happy, and signed off a feedback form.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice touch, because
I think we can open this discussion afterwards when we're all panelists, because I know lots of businesses here will have ideas about this. But we said in the introduction that you have built up a community of fans, and I think that every business needs to think about how it is that you do that. And that's a really nice way of saying marketing, which is what today's all about. But marketing essentially is very simply talking to your audience and turning them to people who are fans of your brand. So what other ways have you done that over the last year, would you say, apart from the personal touches?
Oh, I think you might have frozen. Is he? Oh, you froze a bit there.
Sorry, did you lose us there, Jason?
No, it was a bit stuttery, but it's back.
It's back, lovely.
So yeah, we didn't have a huge pot of money to throw at things outside of the actual bar itself. So I was heavily reliant on social media, and I think it always confuses me when people don't lean on social media as much as you can, because it's free. Everyone uses it pretty much, as long as you've got yourself a decent branding, and you can kind of keep people in by being a bit humorous or keeping things interesting. It's a great tool, and it really worked for us. And we use the trade quite nicely as well. A lot of breweries were happy to do case studies on us because of our unfortunate timing. They were listening to the landlords and the stories behind them. So there was a few angles, but we had some beer mats drawn up, which we've dropped through lesser boxes of Alton, these things.
Okay.
Yeah, things like that, really.
So it sounds like,
go on.
No, your turn this time.
So I just wanted to take a few steps back, because you obviously you had your business plan in place to open the tap room, and it was all up, I would imagine, all going swimmingly, and then COVID started looming. How can you talk us through how that worked? Because I think it's really important, because a mental strength to keep going. Like, where were you at? How were you feeling? What did you do?
It was, and I think everyone was kind of in the same boat. It was something that no one really took completely seriously. You wouldn't have known the extent of what it would have eventually turned into. I remember I was painting the decking out the front the first time round, and a lady came up to me and said, "Oh, it's bad timing for you." And I was a bit surprised, like, "What? How do you mean?" I just kind of parked it to one side, thought, "Oh, it'll be fine. We'll get over it." I think the amount of energy, time, and investment that went into the place, and the enthusiasm, you could have thrown anything at us and it would have been, take it in your stride and get around it, sort of thing.
I think you proved that.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, was there any point at which you thought, actually, I think I might just turn back?
Not at all. No. In fact, I think if we went back to sort of 6 months into the first, 6 months into the business, if you said, if you could turn back time, would you have done it any differently? And because of the support from the town and how the change of direction had taken off in terms of deliveries, it it really gives you confidence, and it was really nice to see. So, and we were enjoying it. You know, I mean, I keep saying we. I was enjoying it. It was just, yeah.
And so did you meet your targets through the year, or did you have to sort of revise your business plan quite dramatically in Q1, Q2 and so on?
Yeah, I put in a cash flow forecast when I sat down with the accountant at very early stages, and you know, they saw I was looking to start up a bar, and then they saw this figure that I'd suggested would be my expected revenue, and he was like, "Really? Are you sure?" And because you know, he wasn't maybe into the craft beer scene, he didn't really understand it so well, but it wasn't actually far off the forecasted number, given everything that happened. It was
all things considered.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute that to?
I think it's just largely down to our niche. What we've got, there's, I mean, this is why I did it, because there's nothing that does this kind of beer, this kind of product. You'd have to go sort of to Winchester or the other way to Guildford, up to the city. And a lot of people have discovered it since we started, and it's opening your eyes to something. It's like going from McDonald's to a gourmet restaurant. It's, you know, in the beer world, it's a very different thing altogether.
Can you, just for the benefit of the people in the audience that don't know you or don't know the Tap House, can you tell us what it is that makes it? What is it that makes it so different? What have you got on sale that makes you so different? Yeah, I think that's a really good way of getting people to know.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, your typical pub experience will be, you know, you've got a few lager lines, which are, you know, by and large the same kind of products, really. Ciders and bitters that are sometimes not particularly well kept. What's in the craft beer world, it's largely independent brewers that are really, really skilled. I mean, these guys know their stuff. They don't sit behind technology and let the computers do all the stuff. They're very hands-on, and the beer they produce is just exceptional. Everyone that is into craft beer has had that sort of eureka moment where they taste a beer and think, "I didn't know beer could be this good." But it's if you haven't tried craft beer, and a lot of people have got into things like BrewDog or Beavertown, you know, they're appearing more and more in supermarkets and places. That's along the lines of where we are. And then you do get up into the sort of the god tier, and beer can be a really interesting and absorbing thing.
Are they local brewers mainly, or where do you get, where are your suppliers from?
Yeah, so our supply chain really covers the whole of the UK. On our website, I've put a map, a link to a map on Google where we've pinpointed every brewer that we've ever used. So, I mean, the nearest would be somewhere like Mr. Whitehead Cider, which is just on the outskirts of Alton. We use Red Cat in Winchester. There are lots of breweries along the south coast in Gosport, Southampton, Portsmouth, and we go up to, you know, right up into the Highlands in Scotland, all over the place, Northern Islands, everywhere.
When you, can I just ask you a question about choosing your partners? Obviously, I've seen that you work with lots of different breweries across England and the UK. What is it, a values-driven decision when you choose your partnership? Like, do you make sure that you share certain sorts of values with the people whose beer you're going to supply? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, I mean, this industry is quite young, and the kind of people that are involved in it, they care about what they're doing a lot, and they share the same sort of ethics, really. They're very environmentally conscious. They're very, that their staff, they want their staff to have like 4-day weeks and fair pay and you know, all this kind of thing. So by and large, if you're not in that bracket, you're probably not going to find yourself in the industry, because it's a bit cliche, but it's kind of like a big family, if you like. And those that share the same ethics really produce the best beer. So, and
I did notice that when I was doing my research around craft beers, and I really noticed that everything was very driven by, or particularly by sustainability, carbon zero. I've followed BrewDog for a long time because I just really like his approach to business in general. The whole kind of don't listen to anybody, go your own way, be authentic. And he has very strong sets of values, and in their social media it's incredibly clear. Like, you know, there is no ambiguity about who he is, what his beer stands for whatsoever. You know, they're the first carbon negative beer and so on. So do you find yourself very aligned? I mean, your brand looks quite similar, and as you say, the brands are all quite similar. So 2 questions. Obviously you feel you're aligned. Do you share those values with all of those craft beers?
Very much so, yeah. So the branding is really important. It's, you know, you mentioned BrewDog there, and a lot of these places are kind of edgy. They're a bit real world. They're not stuffy. They're kind of real people, and they speak like real people. They're not hidden behind a panel of trained mediators. It's very honest, and I thought it's really important to just be yourself when you're branding like that. Don't take yourself too seriously. Feel free to poke fun at yourself, and people appreciate that, and they kind of relate to that. And I think the sustainability side of it's key as well. We do what we can, so the energy that we get is green. We've got one of those tariffs where it's all renewable. Things like crisp packets are compostable. There's a really good supply we use called Two Farmers, who make compostable crisp packets. No one else seems to do that. It's bizarre, but yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. So essentially you look for partners who share those values with you. So all the way down the supply chain, you know that your brand is honest about its values.
Yeah, I'm not going to say we're perfect. So it's difficult to sort of be completely zero impact on the environment, but you know, we do what we can, and we try and use recyclable kegs where possible, and the industry is slowly getting there with that.
Is there an additional cost to that though? Just from a business perspective, if you want to go that route, you have to pay more for sustainability?
Yeah, there is. So if you want to use renewable power, for instance, the tariffs are a little bit more expensive. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, you've got to take some responsibility in the world. It's, you know, there's so many messages out there at the moment why people should do this, that, and the other, and it would be massively hypocritical if you were to sort of watch those programs, go yes, 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 and then go to your business and completely ignore it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you think your customers choose you because of those underpinning values and ethics, or do you think they come for the beer and then they're just glad to learn about the compostable crisp packets? Which way round is it?
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter. I know, for instance, there's an initiative in Alton called the Alton Climate Awareness Network, ACAN, and the lady who runs that is the wife of a regular customer of ours, and he came home from a few beers one night, and he stuffed a couple of crisp packets in his pocket from his night enjoying a few beers and crisps, and his wife.
We all do that, Jason. We all do that.
Yeah, pocket snacks, they're essential. And his wife found them, and she was blown away by these are compostable crisp packets. What's going on here? And it was a nice surprise. Yeah.
That's interesting, because I think there are a lot of businesses who are, it's not a bandwagon, but who are embracing this more and more. I think, as Lou says, the barrier to that is often that it's just more expensive and you don't want to pass that cost on to your customers. But I think generally all of our small businesses are moving in that direction. We were pleased to see there's a zero waste food shop, isn't there, coming into the shed, the refiller. What's it called, Lou? Can you remember?
Let's Refill. I think there's one in Alton, isn't there? The first one is in Alton.
The same one. It's the same company, I believe.
Fill Up is
Fill Up.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, she's moving into the shed as well. She's got a space in the shed as well. So yeah, it is. It's really important, I think, to keep that ethos, isn't it, in your business? And sometimes, you know, when you get very busy and you get other opportunities and it's not quite aligned, that's when you start not feeling your business the way you should. And I think you should always feel proud of your business. So it's certainly something that is coming across from you, Jason.
Yes, I think, yeah, sorry, Lou, go.
Can I just go back to sort of the initial marketing that you had planned before COVID hit, and how that sort of pivoted and changed, because you must have had to do something different to what you'd originally planned.
Yeah, so the original plan, I had ideas of doing, I wanted to make the bar somewhere it's not just the same experience night after night. I wanted to do things, you know, bars have like live bands occasionally, that sort of thing. But I wanted to sort of extend that and give customers a bit of input on it. So things like vinyl nights, where we'd set up a deck and people can come in and bring any record they want.
Oh wow!
So
wow, that sounds fun.
Oh gosh! Are you sure? Because my vinyls are old. Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they put the Spice Girls onto vinyl, but if things like that, the intention is, and it still is there, to give customers a bit of a feedback and kind of make it their own, if you like. And have you
got your favourite song there on vinyl? Like Ocean, whatever it was. What was it? Oh, that was the gig. What was the favourite song again?
Favourite song was Angel of Death by Slayer. It's not for the faint-hearted. Is
it there on vinyl? Can we come and listen to it?
Do you know what? I haven't got any vinyl in this bar at the moment, but I will.
Okay. You will have. Okay, cool.
That's just like a different alternative to having the traditional jukebox, isn't it? You can go and choose your song, but you bring your. I like that. It's kind of it's just something different, isn't it?
And we also do. If someone comes in, we call it band T-shirt jukebox. If someone comes to the bar and they're wearing like like a Nirvana T-shirt or the Beatles or something, we'll put a few Beatles tracks because we use Spotify.
Okay.
So we discreetly put them on, and
that's interesting. That's that personal touch again, isn't it? I would love it if that happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to think very carefully about what I wear now.
Yeah, we will. We're going to when we arrive, we'll be definitely be wearing branded T-shirts, I'm sure.
We will, absolutely. So, Jason, how do you, when things are tough, do you have a thing that you do to keep you going when you're having a bad day in business?
I mean, you do have. It's not necessarily. I've not had bad days per se. I mean, everyone gets, has bad days, but you do get into times where you kind of thinking, this is looking a bit bleak all of a sudden. I need to change something, or I'm getting concerned. But I found that every time I've got to that level, that mindset of, oh no, am I making a big mistake here? You find it just takes like one customer to give you some nice feedback or a mention or something, and it really props you up. It's amazing what that does. And the customers probably aren't aware of it. They probably just think, oh, you'll just gloss over that. But it's, every time you hear a bit of positive feedback from something that you've made, it kind of think you get back on track and think, okay, it's fine. I'm worried about nothing.
You back up. Yeah. So you support your customers and they support you. It's a lovely symbiotic relationship. It sounds like.
Very much so. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic.
And just in relation to other businesses in the area, I know you did some collaborations, didn't you, in the summer when you opened before? Could you want to tell us about that, sort of what happened?
Yeah, well, our delightful the government have put various restrictions on the hospitality industry. Some would say a little unfairly, perhaps, a bit unfounded. So, for example, the sustainable meal thing. But you just kind of have to get on with what you're given. And we don't have a kitchen. We've barely got enough room for a cellar out the back, so it's a very small place. And this was a bigger challenge than the first one. So if we wanted to open the store, we had to sort of think on our feet. I'm saying we again. The timing was pretty good. So in Alton, you've got a shop called Blend It, who very much into the fresh produce, juices, salads, vegan stuff, and they're doing treatments now, massages and bits.
Oh.
So they had Annie, who runs the place. She just moved into the unit next to me as this was coming in. So all of a sudden, there was an opportunity for us to use them and another outfit called the Banger Brothers, who are making hot food. And we were all in this little triangle, and I said, let's just join forces and do it together. And it was really hard work. Running food, beer, everything at the same time was tough, but we made it work. And it was great because so many people now are booking tables saying, Banger Brothers still operates, and is Blendit going to be open? Can we get food in? Is that, and it's really promoted them as well, so that's great.
Wow, it's really good, because again, you know, that's what we find at the BiZHUB, is that you just, to collaborate with local businesses, with local people in your community, really can push your own business into a direction that would otherwise be impossible. So yeah, are you going to keep collaborating with them? Because you're obviously not going to do food if you haven't got a kitchen. So are you going to keep collaborating?
Yeah, I mean, we'll support them in terms of, if people want to grab food there and eat it in the bar, I'm more than happy for that to happen. You know, it helps everyone then. But it's a lot of, there's this whole, you know, some people see other businesses as potential threats. I mean, I know we're completely different industries here, but like you say, if you join forces and get together, or just bounce off each other,
I think it's that, having that open mind, isn't it, about being a business owner, and other people are business owners too. And if people come to your bar and need food and you won't allow it, they're going to leave and go somewhere else where they can get food. So join forces with him. He has a win because people are buying, and they stay in your bar longer. I mean, it's a win-win all round, really.
Yeah, and it's funny because people are so used to that traditional bar environment where I've seen people order food in before, and they'll have like a pizza or something from Pizza Express, and they'll be like, "Oh, really sorry, is this okay?" Like, yeah, fine. Yeah.
I know.
It's absolutely, we encourage it.
That's really good. It's a really good open attitude to have. It is. It's really good.
It's interesting, isn't it, that sometimes, I mean, you touched on it before when you said, you know, because we started just before lockdown, the breweries were really nice to us, they were really interested in us, and sometimes adversity can be a very positive thing. So when you're pushed up into a corner, you think of a way around it, and it actually can help you be really creative, coming up with food solutions, coming up with delivery solutions. So it's almost quite like, how do we bring that feeling of adversity and difficulty into our business in the everyday, so that we come up with these really creative workarounds? But yeah, it sounds like in some ways the pandemic has worked well for you. That sounds really bizarre, but is that something we could say?
I mean, there's definitely been positives that have come out of it. We've created from the delivery, because, you know, a lot of people were stuck at home. A lot of people were shielding and had next to zero human interaction. And we were one of only two. I think the Triple F were doing deliveries as well nearby. But people were ordering sometimes daily on the website, and you'd find yourself having a 5 or 10 minute chat on the doorstep, and for them, that's their social life. You know, that's the thing they look forward to. And we built up a really nice customer base of like-minded people, and we're now seeing that, you know, like you say, there's been positives because they're now using the bar regularly. It's great.
You built up quite maybe slightly deeper relationships with your customers as a result of it, because everyone's gone through this huge transformational experience together, and it's been difficult for everybody, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a leveler. So I think if you can connect with your customers during that time, it has turned out really well for a lot of businesses, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there are customers that had bought hundreds of beers from me and they'd never been to the bar.
Wow.
There's a weird way of thinking about it, but yeah, I think it's important just to sort of be positive a lot, have an open mind, don't look around you at what other people are doing, just have your own, like you touched on with Brewdog, have your own minds, and do what you think is the right thing. And
yeah, his advice is literally, do not ever take any advice from anybody.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's quite extreme, but I know
that's extreme.
It is extreme, but I know what he means. It's like, don't take advice just because somebody has given it to you who appears to be more experienced than you. Go with your gut.
I disagree with that to a point, because I'm a terrible accountant, so I'll listen to every single last bit of advice.
Take some tax advice. Yeah. Vicky's got to put a comment in the chat here saying that she loved your collaboration with Sauce That Rocks and then the NHS incentive as well. Would you like to talk us through those things?
Yeah, so a friend of mine, I call him Welsh Dan. He's a chef and he's an excellent sauce maker. You'll find him on Etsy if you look up Sauce That Rocks. But his business was around promoting bands. So he'd make sauces for them to use as promotional material, be customized to their band and whatever record they're about to release. Obviously all the gigs stopped and he had all these sauces that he couldn't shift. So I said to him, you know, people are having barbecues. It was a blazing hot summer in the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So we were selling sauces for him. And also there was a big wave of support, as rightly there should have been, for the NHS as well. And I know a lot of nurses and paramedics in the town and surrounding areas. So I thought it'd be nice to sort of give something back. You know, I can at least give them a few drinks and stuff. So we were doing surprise drops for nominated NHS staff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so a few beers and a few snacks and things for them to come home to, really.
Wow, that's really lovely incentive. It is. If you do it as a surprise as well, it has much more impact, doesn't it, when you do something as a surprise?
Yeah. I remember there was one lady. She's a midwife, and she just finished a horrendous, like a 10-11 hour shift or something overnight. And I just sort of handed her this bag of beer and she started crying.
Oh,
sorry about that.
That is amazing. Really, really good.
So on the advice thing, I know we've just said that Brewdog Captain James says don't take any advice from anybody, but if you were to be asked for advice from somebody just setting out on a startup journey, what would you say?
Get a good accountant.
100% with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, just be true to yourself, you know. I mean, again, that sounds a bit cliche, but if you look around you and you feel threatened by other people, it's really not going to have a positive impact on you. Do your own thing. Like if you see trends forming, then put your own spin on that. And the personal touches, as I say, it really doesn't take much. You go to a hotel room and there's a little personalised welcome card, or silly little things like that go a long way. Whatever trade you're doing, so that's a big one.
No, great advice. I really like that.
And we'll finish on this question. What are your plans for the future, Jason? I know you've just started this, but have you got bigger plans? Have you? Can you share with us if you've got anything else planned?
So it's really difficult to plan at the moment. The current day plan is to get some more staff in so I can have a bit of a break. But I can't rule out a second venue at some point. That would be nice. I just want to sort of get people on bar stools at the bar and that sort of. But I mean, a lot of people are asking if we'll ever do food. And at the current location, it's the size restriction doesn't allow it, but who knows, others have done it and it's not impossible, so maybe.
So at the moment you just partner with other breweries, so you don't actually brew your own beer, do you?
Exactly.
No. Is that something you were considering?
I've tried brewing my own beer. It's horrendous.
All right, okay. We have somebody in the audience today, I believe, who does brew their own beer. I think we can talk to him afterwards.
Very much interested, yes, definitely.
Yes, we've got a raised hand from. We'll come to you afterwards, Martin. When we're all in the room together.
Well, I think we're just about at that point, to be honest. So, Jason, it's such a great story, and you're a true inspiration, to be honest. It's so lovely to hear your positivity, and you could have gone completely the other way, in the drudgery way of doing it, and like, it's not fair. This is what I was trying to do, and my plans have all been ruined. You really flipped it and just made it really positive and made a huge success of it. I particularly like that you collaborate with other small business owners as well. I love that attitude. I think, the world is often very blinkered and people don't open their eyes and see that, we're all just here and we're all just trying to run businesses. And it's a beautiful thing if you can actually do it with somebody else as well. Benefits both of you. So I really like that angle that you use.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Right.
Well then,
without any further ado, we're going to now upgrade everybody to a panelist, so everyone will be able to see everybody, and we'll have some Q&A. I'm sure people will have some questions for you. Here we go. Good morning, Vicky. Nice to see you.
Vicky, you can see some of your customers appearing now.
Yeah.
Here they come. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Russell. Hi,
Morning.
Sheila.
Lovely. There we go.
There we all are.
Here we go.
Russ, looking a bit jaded, Russ. Are you okay, mate?
Morning, Russell. Nice to see you.
Morning. Last night.
Morning. I might have been, yeah. I did leave before everybody else, though, Jay. I promise.
Wow. Is that because you were near the exit?
Brilliant. Gosh, it's lovely to see so many of you here this morning. Hi. Hi, Liz. Nice to see you.
Hi, Vicky.
Good.
Two Vickies.
There we
Risa, hello. Nice to see
yes.
you.
Risa, nice to meet you.
And Claire, lovely.
Claire's here.
Are we going to get everybody switching on their cameras?
Not sure. Is Martin? Was Martin here? Oh,
Martin is here. He goes by the name of Hod. There he is.
There he is. Hi, Martin. Nice to see you. Good. So again, welcome to everybody. It's lovely to see you all this morning, and I always like this bit where we can see everybody's faces. It's quite disconcerting just talking to a blank screen sometimes. I know you're all.
It's odd for us, isn't it? There's like nobody there. You know you're all there, and we can picture you all in our mind's eye, but we can't see you. That's
good. So yeah, I'm sure you all enjoyed that just as much as we did. A great story. So yeah, we'll just bounce it around and see if anybody's got a particular question they'd like to put to Jason in the first instance. Oh, Sheila, hello. Here you go. Sheila, over to you.
Yeah, hi. In an ideal world, Jason, there is no such thing. I do appreciate that. How far afield would you go for your beers?
It's largely, in terms of physically where they're made. I mean, we've gone as far afield as Spain and Norway. The Americans are really good at making beer, but it's a cost thing, but it's also a transportation thing. I don't really agree with flying beer unnecessarily over the sea when there's good beer here already.
No, well, I have a reason for asking. Going back a few years through networking, I met a guy called Michael Fairweather, married to a Czech, and he was promoting Hubertus, the beer made at the oldest brewery in Prague, and they are so secretive about their recipe. And as a non-beer drinker, I do apologize, but beer has never been my thing. Even though my dad brewed his own, I really didn't like it. I could drink that. I really enjoyed.
That's why.
Yeah. But interestingly, I mean, I know it's probably because of COVID. I've looked him up on LinkedIn. He's not been active, and I also looked up Hubertus on the website, and they're obviously just only doing it at home, but I can tell you it is really good. That's all I'll say. And that would come overland, because I know he used to bring it with him to the networking events, because he spent half his life in Prague and half his life in the UK. So he always turned up with crates full of beer at the networking events.
Absolutely, I've written that down. Hubertus.
Yeah.
I'll look them up, and Estonia. I'm looking at breweries all over the place at the moment. So yeah, all sorts of places.
Okay, thank you.
I think Martin had his hand. Martin, did you have your hand raised up earlier and you put it down again? Did you want to? Just saying hi. Hi, okay. Martin's the other with the brewer that we have in the room. Do you know each other already?
I believe we on some...
Yeah, we've exchanged a few messages and stuff like that, I think. And obviously, lockdown. Yeah. Tough for me, tough for you, and it's I think we made contacts and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
We need to get conversations up and running again when you're ready.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
You sell it. It seems like a perfect match.
It's meant to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I had someone describe to me, obviously where you are in Alton, the kind of Alton, kind of Petersfield, Farnham, kind of that kind of slice of the southeast is kind of like a barren wasteland of craft beer, because actually, when you look at it, they're, apart from the likes of yourself and stuff, producers and sellers of good quality, independently owned craft beer is next to non-existent.
Do you know, when I first opened the place, I mean, Alton's got a tradition, if you like, of old style ale. It's a very traditional brewing town. So to open something with cloudy keg beer is but you know, I was in a craft bar in Winchester, and I saw a guy who I knew lives in Alton, and I saw him at the bar, and I thought to myself, it'll work, it'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, yeah, no, it is. Yeah, so yeah, no, I think there's real appetite and interest in it, and particularly the independent side, right? That's the one plus side I'm trying to take out of COVID and everything that's gone on, and it's, you know, it's knocked me and my business plans left, right, and centre over the last 12-18 months. But the rise of localism and wanting to support and a lot more local, and actually exodus from the cities and stuff, and you know, where we are, Alton, Farnham, you know, Liss, Petersfield, that kind of away from London but kind of in the country.
Yeah.
Oh, he's frozen a little bit.
Only be going out there.
I mean, to support that, I mean, you're breaking up a little bit, but we've had I'd say 4 or 5 couples in the last week who have moved down from places like Felton, Surbiton. They've moved into Alton very recently. That thing, they want a bit of peace and quiet and a bit of independent life.
That's that's certainly what's happening in Borden, isn't it? That's what we're finding in Borden. A lot of people are moving out of the cities into Borden, which is really beautiful, which is very similar to Alton as well. So yeah, we are definitely finding that.
So Claire's had her hand up for a while. Sorry if I missed somebody. To go to Claire.
Hi Jason. I'm just really curious. I love to know what's in people's backgrounds and their role models and stuff like that. But I just want to know, has there been like an entrepreneurial role model or someone, you know, did your parents have kind of grown up sensible jobs, you know, for you to go from software to chefing, which are both quite traditional? Or was it a life event or something that just got you into that slightly different mindset? And just, who are the people around you that have influenced you?
Yeah, it's I think that the transition in career was, I'm not really a money-driven person, and I found myself in this dull job speaking to people who weren't particularly nice, and you know, it was a well-paid job, and maybe I took that for granted, but I just really wasn't enjoying it. And I thought, well, I'm spending the vast majority of my time doing something I don't enjoy. It's time to change that. But I mean, it's in terms of role models, I'm not going to say people like Richard Branson or Alan Sugar or anyone like that, but it's people that have kind of inspired me. People who just get up and do their own thing and embrace it and don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, people like, sounds a bit silly, maybe Jamie Oliver. I've got a huge amount of time for him because he's got his principles in the right place and he's just gone for it, and he doesn't take himself seriously, and he's a good guy, you know. That's just one example, but they're the sort of people I've kind of molded me as I've grown up, I guess.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's that values thing that Emma was talking about. That definitely runs through what you're talking about, even just there. That Jamie Oliver's values of being, as far as we know, quite authentic and actually just going for it, going for something that he loves. So yeah, that's interesting. And also, will you do any of the festivals? Will you be kind of taking your stuff to any of the local music festivals when they start again?
Definitely in minds. I don't know really what kind of openings there would be for us. I mean, actually last night we had the camera guys in who are setting up a beer festival in Alton, and a little different from the usual beer festival. It would be on the market square, but they were sort of trying to get my idea on how I perceive that. You know, do I see it as a bit of a bad thing or a good thing? And I'm all for it, you know. And if we can get a stand at some of the upcoming summer events, then brilliant. It's logistically it's a little tricky though, because we need like gas lines and coolers and things for some of our beers. So But yeah, we'll definitely give it a go. Why not?
Lovely. Liz, you got a question?
Liz got a question.
Sorry, I just had to unmute. Just as a suggestion, you're saying about shows, there's the Stansted Garden Show. I think they're still looking for extra stands. We talk about collaboration. I've actually collaborated with 2 other businesses, so we have a big pitch there. It's a big garden show, but it's part of a group. It's down at Rowlands Castle. But they do beer and all sorts of things. They could do tasting, and I see your beer would be really good for people tasting and then taking crates away.
Yeah.
As they take lots of plants away, they can take crates of beer.
Both, yeah. No, I think, and that's something I've not really paid much attention to, events, but I think there's something that I need to look at a bit closer, really. I mean, it's an interesting show. I mean, I did it as an experiment a couple of years ago, and I've just gone because it's just it seems to be very different every year. But 17,000 people go, so it's over 3 days. It's quite interesting because it's a real cross section. It's not just garden furniture, garden plants, but there's also gifts and all sorts of different things, artisan products, like myself. So yeah, it's an opportunity to just, if anything, I marketed our shop that way, so we got a lot of pull through to the shop. So yeah, it was just really interesting. And our shop is in Midhurst, and we have a crafty beer guy who runs a shop called it's called Crafty Pint, that's it, and he does craft beers. Okay. What's your shop's name, Liz?
The shop's called Crafty Pint.
Crafty Pints
in Midhurst. He's really nice, the guy. I've forgotten his name now. Yeah, he has lots of tasting events.
Good.
And every month we have a fair in the square, so again that pulls in people, so there's lots of opportunity to just run different things, just experiment.
Yeah, and events like that, they're kind of perfect to sort of bring people in, to give them a platform, if you like. But it's also, you go to them as a customer and you get talking to people and you realise, hang on a minute, you make beer, I sell beer, so you take away from going to those things isn't necessarily just about the event, it's who you see there as well.
Who you see, yeah. And I love the way you just be yourself, your true state your true values, and I think that's what has worked a little bit for our shop. We have 4 different businesses in our shop, and we have that sort of authenticity, and we've, people say, oh, you should change it to this, and no.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, Liz, because obviously you've got a shop, you must have felt that Jason's story chimed with yours quite a lot, what happened in March last year?
Yeah. Yes.
What did you relate to?
I think what we don't do online, and we still don't do online, and we stayed true to ourselves in that we're small businesses. What we did do successfully is we changed the window practically every week, and we got a lot of DM direct messaging that way, and people who've come to the shop, we've had so since we've opened, which is only since Monday, we've had only a couple of regular customers, but the rest have all been new customers because they've seen the window, and just because they've walked past and you've done something different, so we kept it interesting.
Liz, do you want to tell everybody, because some people in the room don't know what your shop is, do you want to tell what you sell in your shop?
Oh, okay.
There's some new people. Well, there's some new people in the room, you may as well.
Go, Liz, you're in the spotlight.
Okay. So our house is called Sussex House Boutique. We called it Sussex House because that was the name of the building. And it's in 2 Red Lion Street, Midhurst. I share with another independent business called Sill & Bill, who do Italian clothes and accessories. And my business is Coconut Blue, and I do artisan, small collections of artisan products from around the world. And we also have 2 additional independent businesses who just do short say a month, and then they not say disappear, but they're in the shop for a month, and we just do commission with them, with a lady who does Kenyan baskets and then another lady who does jewelry. So we have a sort of a continuous sort of mixture, lots of different change, but very small collections. And yeah, we've just,
but again, it's small businesses collaborating, which is, I think it's really key, and I think it's really worth remembering for everybody, is that, you know, there are other businesses around that you can collaborate with, which benefit both businesses. And I think it's having that open mind, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
what we're doing, isn't it, in the shed?
Yeah, so I really rent a space. So I don't actually have the lease. So Still and Bill have the lease. So I rent, if you like, I rent a space from them. So it's low risk for me. And I also do other things like I can do the Stansted Garden Show. I do rare brands. I do a lot of the Christmas markets because I love them. And you know, I can do my own thing, really, and it works for me.
Very important.
and really important.
You know, I've got a small following. I don't have a big following, and that was never my intention. But you know, I've got that small following. People know where to come. If they want little gifty things or summer things. I do a lot of things because I lived in Australia. I do a brand called One Season now, which is one season clothing. So
good,
which everyone's buying summer clothes at the moment, in spite of
that. Brilliant, thank you for that. It's always good to reiterate, isn't it? Has anybody got another question for Jason?
Noem's got her hand up.
No, yes, I know.
Hi, morning everyone. Firstly, I would just like to say I'm not a beer drinker, and I apologise for that, but the 10 Tun Tap House sounds absolutely awesome. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to coming over to Alton wearing my Corn t-shirt to see what happens. But my question is, I love the branding on craft beer. It's so diverse and outside the box and colourful and eye-catching. It's absolutely fantastic. Do you also sell craft gins? And if not, has it crossed your mind?
Yeah, so the gins that we've got, so I'll go at a different angle with this one. So for years I've been dragging my poor wife to craft bars up and down the country, and whenever you find a good one with some really good beers, they tend not to have a decent alternative offering if you don't drink beer. It's like yourself. So you'd always find yourself in a bar with a happy medium. So when I started this up, I thought it's really important that I cater for people who don't necessarily drink beer. So the cider needs to happen, the wine and the spirits. And we've tried to keep it local. So we've got Bombay Sapphire from Laverstoke, obviously, Winchester Dry, and then we've got something a bit further afield, Tarquins from Cornwall, who is, there's a local connection in Alton. It's a relative who's a bit of a sales rep for them, but it just found its way in and people love it. And I guess that's a bit of a craft gin. It's getting a bit mainstreamy, but yeah, if once we're in full flow and we're getting through the gins, absolutely, I'd look to do rum, you know, anything like that. Get some artisan stuff in for sure.
We really need to, put you in touch with the Hogmore Distillery, who have a distillery at Signal, and they do rum and gin. So we will definitely connect you with them. I think it's well worth it.
Perfect, yeah.
They've just been, their Nut Hatch gin has just been put into the shortlist of the finals of the Gin Guide 2021. So they're very happy. I was really hoping they would be here today. I spoke to them yesterday and they were going to try, but obviously the events have got in the way.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look them up.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Come visit. You know, they're at Signal, they're open, they sell gin. What's not to like?
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Has anybody else got any questions? We can, about marketing. Anybody else want to bounce?
In the chat, can you see?
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat here from Vicky.
Okay.
I don't know which Vicky because my chat is still truncated.
Vicky Jarman.
Jarman.
Yeah.
Do you find the social media easy? Do you want to read it, Vicky, as you're here?
Yeah, I mean, I've followed the 10 Tun Tap House since you guys launched. Again, not a craft beer drinker, but I have drank the Tarquins gin in your bar and it's delicious, so I agree with you on that. And your social media just seems to flow really naturally, and I wondered if it's something you find easy, because I know a lot of business owners sometimes fall victim of overthinking things, and I didn't know if it's something that you have to think a lot on, or whether it comes really naturally to you.
Because we get through so many different products, it was an easy thing to use them as a regular social media. There's nothing worse than someone with a social account that hasn't been updated since 6 months ago, because that's not very interesting. So the branding thing was quite important. So it sounds real basic, but things like using the same filter on Instagram, using the same location in the bars to do the photography of cans and things like that. But what I found was just kind of going out of my mind in the first lockdown, and I got a bit bored, and we made a video of how people should use the pub once they're allowed back out again. And it was pretty funny. I got dressed up as a lady and started doing things that people hate in pubs, and we stuck it on social media, and just everyone that walked past the bar said, "Oh, I've seen your video, it's really funny," and this, that. So that was just for a laugh, but it really resonated with people, and it kind of humanized the bar as well. So it's not just some shop that you go to and transactions happen. It's actually a real thing. So that kind of came naturally, I guess, to answer your question.
You involved, Russell? I see you giggling.
Russell's being very quiet this morning.
Were you involved with that video in any way?
I wasn't involved, but I remember it, and you've got to look it up. It's absolutely hilarious. Jay dressed up as a lady and was trying to order cocktails and hot chocolate and telling people that's not what to do at his bar. It's just brilliant.
Being your own worst customer. Is that there?
Sorry, say again.
Were you being your own worst customer? Was that the idea?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the people that go to the pub once a year around Christmas and they're ordering a hot chocolate on a paying by check or something like that, and meanwhile you've got 45 drinks to buy, and yeah, it was a bit of fun, just a spin on that, really.
Yeah, but I think those things are the things that really connect with your audience, aren't they? Quite often the sort of accidental social media, that just something that makes you laugh.
Yeah,
that's where you get the true authenticity from.
More CCTV. That's the one. We want to see more CCTV, definitely. Yeah. The can of paint was genius. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh yes, I saw that one. That was good.
Did you see the guy falling off the chair?
Totally, and the guy on the step totally styled that out. I tell you, seriously, it's brilliant.
Yeah, the
styled
CCTV
it.
I mean, if you come to the Ten Tun Tap House, we hold all rights to the footage on CCTV, so you will go on it.
Oh, okay. This is a worry.
Thanks for warning us.
Thank you for warning us. Thanks for the heads up, because we're all going to be there, because we all come to LinkedIn Local, which is where we're going to be holding the next, well, when we're allowed. Yeah, we'll bear that in mind. Turns out I quite like craft beer, to be honest. I've only just realised it in the last couple of years, and yeah, I really like it. So. Right up my street.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I was just going to bring in Reza, if you don't mind, Reza, because I know we're all talking locally. We are all, apart from you, really quite local. But I just wanted to ask. I know that you're joining us from Peterborough. Are you a fan of craft beer? Is there a craft beer movement scene in Peterborough?
I don't know.
You didn't know anything. You were just sitting here going, "What is all this? This is completely new to me."
Yeah, I do actually have a question though, which is in the beginning, like I assume this was like your first like entrepreneurial venture in the sense of like starting a business. How did you determine who your partners were or who you wanted to work with? Was it based on values, or was it price, or like a mix of everything?
So the thing is with craft beer is it's not cheap. So the price thing, set that aside. If you're going to be price focused, you're not going to be doing it right with craft beer, because if it's good enough, people will pay for it, and that's what I've realized. Like, you put beers in there, you think, right, this is a really expensive beer, how's this going to work? And it's the most popular one. If you go to a beer festival, the most expensive beers are the ones that run out first. So the decisions really, it's just down to we tie quite closely with 3 or 4 breweries, the main one of which is called Siren in Finchampstead, which is only a 40-minute drive away. It's not too far, but they're well established. They've got a great delivery service. They've got an enormous range of beers. They've got everything in place to kind of support me and make me comfortable. They give me glassware, you know. I know the delivery drivers, and we have a chat, and it's just a nice relationship. So yeah, we use hundreds of breweries, but some we keep going back to because we feel that their product's great and that they can support us with all sorts of bits that we find useful, really. Yeah.
And what about, can I just, following on from that, because I noticed on your website you also sell wine, which is my drink, which obviously isn't sourced in the UK. But so how do you go about selecting that?
So we use another independent locally, the Naked Grape, and so they have places in Formarks, Alsford, and there's another one a bit further afield. I can't remember where, but anyway, he is a wine freak. He knows his stuff, and I don't. Okay. So I just said to him, "Can you put me together a menu with these boxes ticked?" And you know, we had people asking for a lot of the beers are vegan. That's another big thing with craft beer, the vegan approach. And people were saying, "Have you got any vegan wines?" And so over to you, Simon, at Naked Grape, and he would come back with some other products. And that's, yeah, so that's, I don't really profess to be an expert at something I'm not. I think
that's great though. That's, you know, why you don't pretend to be an expert in something if you aren't. Just find somebody who is and work with them. That's completely my approach as well.
Yeah.
Very honest approach.
Yeah. Honesty is the best policy.
Mm.
Good. But I've got a quick question. Just going back to your marketing. So you obviously had a marketing plan for like this time last year, and then you changed it to adapt to the circumstances we found ourselves in. Are you reverting back to your original marketing plan, or have you grown and learnt over that year and you've got a different plan completely now?
I think now we've overcome a lot of the obstacles that, you know, from the first step to now. We've done I keep saying we again. I've managed to build a customer base. We've got a brand that's quite good. I mean, on social media, we'll put an image up of like a sticker on a car bumper or something, and then you get an influx of messages. "Oh, can I have some stickers? Can I have this, that, and the other?" And it's great because that just builds the brand. People love stickers, and so you take little hints from people's feedback and interactions as to how to steer your marketing and what works and what doesn't. Something that was really good for us was almost a surprise. There's a magazine locally called Round and About.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And people would put forward a local business that they thought had, you know, done well and that they kind of liked and enjoyed. And I was delivering beer to a customer one day, and he said, "Oh, congratulations on the magazine." And I had no idea what he meant, and he showed me, and it was great. And lots of people mention that, and it's, you know, don't underestimate local media. Those things really do work. I'm going to use that in future for sure.
That's interesting. And have you applied for any awards at all? I know it's early days, but Gin Distillery, as I said, the first award they applied for, you know, they're in the finalists on the final panel. I just wondered whether that's something that's occurred to you.
Yeah, my wife found something. It was like a general sort of pub awards thing, and they had subcategories in terms of craft bars and micro pubs and things. And it's something that we wanted to apply to, but unfortunately they wanted quite a lot of money to enter. So
that old racket.
Yes. No, it'd be great to get some accolades under our belt at some point, but I want to focus more on getting the place up and running before we start shouting about how great people think we are or we aren't. Yeah.
And what about, have you tried any paid? No, I know that Reza, for example, is an expert in paid PPC, paid marketing. Have you tried anything like that? Google Ads, Words, or Facebook marketing, paid Facebook marketing?
I haven't. It's not really a world that I understand. I wouldn't even know how to approach that if I'm completely, despite an IT background, I don't really know commercial, sort of online advertising space.
Okay, might be something worth thinking about in the future.
Yeah.
I'm sure Reza or Matt might give you a hand with that. Is that something you do, Matt, or is it more you're more of an SEO focus? You're muted.
I have had some experience when I ran the crowdfunding for Maverick. I had one guy who specializes in Google advertising and social media advertising and how you tie the two together, and using SEO and SEO key links and key link words. And yes, I get it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get your head around. There's some stuff I've learnt around it and some relatively simple geo-tagged and geographical Google advertising you can do with relative ease. You just have to set up some free Google Analytics accounts and tie them in. So I can lend some advice on that and show you what I did for the crowdfunding, and that helped me reach out and pull in people that sort of pledged into the crowdfund beyond the kind of the general area that I was looking for.
Cool.
Okay, well, thanks, Martin. Sorry, going back to Matt. Sorry, you were on mute, Matt, for a little while there. Did you want to try again?
Yeah, from the paid advertising could work really well if you're gonna do very postcode targeted reach out. And yeah, I would say Google My Business would be the biggest winner here, and getting people on all of those reviews, because when I hear you do those amazing personal touches for people, and when they come in a t-shirt and then you play their music, or you do that gluten-free beer for somebody, and that's such an amazing thing to put on the review, and Google My Business would be, you know, absolutely crushing it for you. I would believe so.
I'm making notes, by the way, so
a little marketing one-on-one.
Yeah.
What about you, Reza? Do you have any tips for marketing for local tap house or brewery?
Yeah, I think the like touching on what Matt said, every one of those stories, if you just like kind of include it, the fact that, you know, one of the benefits of being a small business is that you can afford to personalize everything that you do. So being able to let whichever, whether it's through paid media or whether it's through like content strategy, is just kind of lean into that and to just kind of like focus in on that.
Yeah, I think that human connection. Sorry, go on, Jason.
No, I was just sort of absorbing what Reza was saying. Yeah, I think, yeah, like I said before, humanizing the places goes a long way.
Paid social media is good and everything, but you'll hit a certain point where like your restaurant will be at capacity, and you won't be able to provide the service that you want to the same people, because more people are coming in. Yeah. So I think it's working out where like your appetite for growth and how much of your service you can actually afford to how much you afford to basically give up, you know.
You get to a saturation point. Okay.
Yes, Matt?
Yeah, and that's 100% right. When you get to the saturation point, that's probably why I'm thinking getting people on an email list, on a chatbot lists, and nudging them to pop back in. That's where the pure gold is, because, you know, getting those 150 raving fans that will absolutely die for your beer is the goal. Not to reach out to as many as possible, I guess.
Yeah.
How would you go about nudging somebody to come back in? Just to go back to that, Matt. How would you do that?
When they come in, birthday promotions works the best, because when you're having a birthday, you're thinking where to go, and when you have a list of people's birthdays dates, you could actually send them SMS or a Facebook message that they're gonna have a free beer if they bring all your mates, and party with them, something like that, some like incentive. Who doesn't want a free beer, right?
Yeah, the Red Miss Leisure do that actually, don't they, Julian? At the Red Miss Leisure,
yes,
your birthday,
does, yeah.
You get a £10 voucher if you go to his pubs on your birthday or something.
Yeah, and it's easy. Everyone loves it, and you feel welcome, and you feel remembered, appreciated. Everything is good about it, and you're getting raving fans out of it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Really good.
Okay, well, some nice ideas there for everybody's marketing. Does anybody else have any more questions for Jason?
Joanna?
Hiya. Just kind of thinking more along the internal marketing. I know you're a small team at the moment, but I guess marketing and what you stand for is really important in terms of getting your staff. I'm just embarking on this myself, and I'm just interested really just to hear, I guess, any tips that you have. You mentioned that you like to, pay fair, etc., etc. Are there any tips that you have for just maintaining those relationships? Because obviously they're really key, especially when you've got to flex like you have.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, there are about probably 11 or 12 pubs in Alton alone, disregarding the towns around Alton. So what I found is, if you're a bit more of a if you've got that sort of the edginess, if you like, if you're a bit more modern and interesting and popular, people want to be a part of it. People are always, it's not necessarily offering to be staff. They don't come to me asking for jobs and things like that. Some people say, oh, I'll do such, if you need a delivery driver for the day, I don't mind running a few beers around for you. And it's amazing to, I think it's like someone said earlier about the independence and supporting them a little bit. People just want to be part of it. It's like it's their thing as well. But I think if you create an environment where people are relaxed, where it's very much, you get a chance to show your personality, if you like. So the guys, when they work in the bar, I say, if you want a playlist on, then go for it. You can listen to whatever music you want. Wear whatever you want, as long as it's not going to upset people. Just be, I think that's the world that we're living in now. People are left to express themselves, and they'd be human beings. They're not having to read through a staff handbook and abide by thousands of rules. I think that's the best bit of advice, really. Let people express themselves.
Great, thank you.
Good. So do we have any further questions specifically? Yes, Sheila.
Not a question, but I mean, it's summed up as a thread. People love to be appreciated. Whether it's you yourself, Jason, or you make other people feel appreciated. And I also think that you can't beat people recommending you on social media. That's the other thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that comes across as being absolutely genuine, because they've experienced it for themselves and they're saying it from the heart. And I just think that's absolutely the best. You get that feel-good feeling on both sides.
I think this last year as well has been, it's been such an extraordinary year that those little moments of human connection, like real genuine, somebody really appreciating or really reaching out to help you, have become amplified over the last year. They've become much more important, I think, to all of us. So if your business can take that on and deliver that, then that is a good thing. But we work to feel appreciated, as you say. Sorry, Jason.
And if you think about it, people are noticing others around them a lot more. I mean, you walk down High Street, and a couple of years ago, you probably wouldn't have noticed people walking past you on a train or something. Now you're so aware of just how far away someone is, or are they showing any symptoms of something, or your mind is now trained to observe people around you. And I think that spills over into people's behavior. That they see a business and they pay attention to it. They see people making an effort, and no matter how small or big you are, if the customer gives you some positive feedback, it's brilliant. It really props you up. It's great.
Yeah, there is a really good advert on TV. I don't know whether anybody's seen it, and I think it's for MasterCard, but it's for shopping local. So when people go and shop local, the people in the shop are like jumping around and dancing because they've had a sale. Whereas when I think it's MasterCard. I'm not entirely sure, but it is that feeling, isn't it? When you're a local independent small business, a sale means so much to you, and it's just to be appreciated.
Yeah, do you know what? It's the till system that we use that takes the feeds from the website. So we'll be at the bar ready to do the deliveries. We're listening to some music or something, and all of a sudden the till thing cuts in and you get that ching sort of sound.
Yeah.
It really grabs you. Wow, we got an order, what is it?
Sale.
It really is like that.
It's great, and it should be appreciated, and not only for the people receiving it, but when you're out shopping and when you're doing something, bear that in mind, because that is the other side of it, isn't it? When you go into the local independent stores, bear that in mind. I think that's a message to put across.
Very much so.
Right. Well, Jason, I cannot thank you enough. It's just been so lovely to hear your story and a true inspiration. I personally can't wait to come to your house and have some beers. And I'm sure everybody here will be joining us when you come to LinkedIn Local in the next few months. Really appreciate, taking the time. And it was lovely to meet you, albeit on Zoom, but I'm sure it'll be in person soon as well.
Cool, perfect. Nice to meet everyone. And
nice to meet you.
Thank you
so much.
And don't forget, everybody, you can catch up on Vicky's talk from last week, the marketing talk. Please have a look at it. It was a really good talk.
Such a good talk, yeah.
And obviously all the other ones as well. But again, thank you all for coming today. It's been so lovely to see you. We are looking at in the room events very soon. We will be doing a hybrid. We're not entirely sure of the exact plan, but there will be in the room events very soon.
Yeah,
and
some of our members have never been in the room with us. Literally, have joined since.
So we are working on that. Yeah, and we'll keep you completely updated. But without any further ado, all go and enjoy the rest of the day. And it's nearly the weekend, which is very exciting.
It is very nearly the weekend.
And thank you to our guests today coming along. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to stay back afterwards, we can talk to you about all the benefits of the hub. If not, if you haven't got the time, we can always get in touch separately after that.
We'll just then have a chat.
Great.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you all soon.
Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one, guys.